back in 2008, things were still pretty bleak for Sega's Blue Icon. Apart from the Sonic Rush games, the Hedgehog was struggling to find relevancy. This was long before stuff like Sonic 4 and Sonic Colors brought about the Sonic Renaissance we're currently enjoying, and the franchise was still floundering in a post-Dreamcast world. And I think it's important to look at this game in that context. This is Sonic Chronicles: The Dark Brotherhood for the Nintendo DS, an intriguing attempt at bringing the struggling Hedgehog back to gaming's forefront by putting him in a very different pair of shoes.
By the way, you'll never guess who sent us this one. Go ahead, guess. Too late, it's Mohammed from Qatar. Thanks again, Mohammed.
Sonic Chronicles is an RPG, and I don't mean that in a Paper Mario platformer with a little bit of leveling up kind of way. There's an overworld, there are turn-based battles, there are healing items, XP, special attacks. This is a full-blown RPG, which also makes this uncharted territory for Sonic the Hedgehog. So understandably, expectations were all over the place for Sonic Chronicles. There was optimism, there was cynicism, and when the reviews finally came in, all the mixed opinions were a product of that. And as much as the new genre had to do with it, I think the new development team played even more of a role. You see, Sonic Chronicles was developed by BioWare. Yes, that's the same BioWare that was behind games like Knights of the Old Republic, Baldur's Gate, and Mass Effect, each a grown-up RPG for grown-up gamers. And that's exactly the issue. That's what led to so many varied expectations for this game. A lot of the people who love BioWare games grew up with Sonic, and I think their involvement gave those grown-up gamers hope, however unfounded, that Sonic would finally grow up with them. But that's not the case with Sonic Chronicles. This isn't Mass Effect, and it was never meant to be. What this is a solid RPG, although perhaps a simpler one than you might be expecting from BioWare. Playing as Sonic and his furry friends, you're on a quest to rescue Knuckles and stop the villain from stealing this emeralds, whatever. That's problem one with Sonic Chronicles. The Sonic universe has never been well suited for storytelling, and obviously storytelling plays a pretty big role in the RPG. And unfortunately, the whole plot feels silly, and just like in a Sonic platformer, you probably won't care about what's going on. So without a compelling story, the focus goes to its gameplay, and fortunately, that's where Sonic Chronicles shines. Your team follows your stylus, which, kind of creates a disconnect, but it does work within the framework of the rest of the game. There are a ton of places to explore, and everything you do is touch-based, including in battle. And speaking of which, Sonic Chronicles actually has some pretty tricky combat. It's basically a stereotypical turn-based system, but to perform special attacks, you have to touch the screen in these mini-games that are kind of like elite beat agents. You have to tap and drag with the right timing and in the right dots, and unfortunately, one mistake basically neuters your entire attack. Otherwise, though, this is a pretty basic RPG, almost like a set of training wheels for younger Sonic fans who might be unfamiliar with the genre. But it's all about expectation, and if you were expecting the bastard child of the Grey Warden and Amy Rose, well, you'll probably want to put Sonic Chronicles up for adoption. You're also a very sick person.